Hi everybody, Kelsey and Lovelady here with my second adopted character video. Now unfortunately, no one has come to claim my dear Rachnal Sinna, the last character that I did for adopted character. So now that the 2-week commenting period is over, now rather than going to the person with the best comment on how to use her, Rachnal is on a first come first served basis. The first person to comment will be the person who gets her, the rights to use her, the character sheet, everything. Please give her a home. She needs a home. Anyway, now we're here for my second adopted character, which this time is going to be any species other than human. Let's get started.
Okay guys, so what we're looking at here is another female character. I'm not trying to come off sexist against men, guys. That's just how the coin has been flipping. I promise you that we will get to some male characters eventually. Now keep in mind that when I say she's female, I mean biologically. She was born female, but if you want to make her transgendered or non-binary or gender fluid, go with the grace of whatever God you believe in. I encourage diversity. So, who is this character? Well, this is Puyani, and she is a half-orc who is a level 5 ranger. And in terms of alignment, she is true neutral, which what that means is she neither leans towards the good nor the bad. She's just kind of in the middle. And you would think that that would be a good thing, except for sometimes with true neutral situations, if one side of the moral spectrum is winning too much, they need to balance it out. Now, sometimes that can be good because if bad is winning too much, then they will attack the people who are bad. If good is winning too much, however, they might, massacre a couple of villages. Yeah, not very good. So, her background is she's a noble, which could mean a couple of different things. She could be the noble of her half-orc tribe or family or city, whatever, or she could have become a noble through adoption into another society, or she happened to win a gladiator contest and won the crown. So you guys can take that wherever you want. Obviously, her strength and her constitution are really high, and as a ranger, she also has a fairly good dexterity. It's not, impressive, but it's there. She doesn't have any really bad stats. She's, average intelligence, average wisdom, average charisma. Nothing too impressive there. She gets proficiency bonuses on her strength and dexterity saving throws, as well as animal handling, history checks, intimidation, nature checks, persuasion, and survival checks. She has, medium weight hide armor, and, she's moderately fast, 30 feet in a round of combat. That's not bad. She has a long bow, and she also has 2 hand axes. She gets proficiency in both. In terms of languages, she knows Orc, Common, and Giant, and she knows Giant because she's actually a giant killer. That's one of her archetypes as a ranger. We'll get to that a little bit later. But as a noble, one of her personality traits is that if people wrong her, she will put all of her energy and effort into just completely decimating them. Physically, mentally, emotionally, their societal standing, she will come after you. That's why I wrote, "Fuck with me, I fuck you." Her ideals is that she deserves respect because of her standing, but she will also respect others because that's just the way the world should work. Nothing is more important to her than her family, but she does love being the center of attention. In fact, her flaw specifically said, "The world does in fact revolve around me." In terms of what she has in terms of equipment, as a noble, she gets a gaming set. I gave her some dice because, she might like craps. I gave her some fine clothes, a signet ring to show that she is a noble, her pedigree scroll to prove her nobility, as well as, obviously, her money. Now, in terms of her abilities as both a ranger and a half-orc, she gets dark vision for 60 feet, which means in dim light, she sees it as normal lighting, and in dark light, she sees 60 feet of dim light. She can't see colors, she can only see grays, but that's kind of useful to have. What relentless endurance is that when her hit points hit 0, but she doesn't die, she pops right back up with 1 hit point. It's like a instant revival situation. She gets savage attacks, which means that when she attacks with a melee weapon, she gets to re-roll 1 of the damage dice if it's a 1. So yeah, that's a great thing to have. Her favorite enemies is beasts, which means that she is very skilled at tracking specifically beasts, and she knows a lot about them. As a natural explorer, her favorite terrain is mountains, which means that when she and her party are in difficult terrain in the mountains, they move as normally and they have no difficulty. They cannot be lost in the mountains. They are always alert to danger when in the mountains. If she's alone, she can travel at a normal pace but remain stealthy in the mountains. When she forages for food in the mountains, she finds twice as much as she normally would have, and her tracking survival checks are proficient when she's in the mountains. Now, in terms of her ranger abilities, her fighting style is specifically in dueling, which raised her armor class by 1. Her archetype, as I said earlier, is hunter, and specifically hunter's prey giant killer. So she's very inept at killing giants, and what that means is that when a giant attacks her and misses the attack, she gets to react by attacking them rather than having to wait her turn to attack. She also has primeval awareness, which means that she can take a minute to sense when celestials or dragons or undead or any number of creatures are around her, but it only lasts for a minute and it does not tell her specific location. And she gets an extra attack, which means she gets to attack twice in a round rather than just once. Now, moving on to the second page, we see that she is 22 years old. Now, keep in mind, guys, half-orcs age differently than humans. Half-orcs reach full adulthood by the age of 14. So she didn't start learning how to be a ranger until 17. So that would be like if I started learning a craft at the age of 23, which is what I am now, rather than learning it in high school or something. She's 6'10", which is very, very tall. She weighs 227 pounds, which is probably appropriate for her height. She has hazel eyes, great green skin, and while most half-orcs have dark hair, some of them have red hair. So I gave her red hair because that's how the dice rolled. In terms of what her treasure is, she has a mechanical canary in a gnomish lamp, an alabaster mask, multicolored stone disc, a fan that has a sleeping cat on it when you open it, and a petrified mouse. Now, what these treasures can go to is helping you write her backstory. How did she get one of these, and how does she utilize it? That's up to you guys. I leave all of that up to you. And finally, as a ranger, she does get to cast low-level spells that are from the druid class. So, she can create or destroy water, which will be useful when she's traveling in the mountains. And she can also conjure good berries, which not only are food, but they actually heal you by 1 hit point every time you eat one. So if you're in the middle of the fight and you're really low on health, you can take an action to pop a good berry. She also has beast sense, which means that she can sense when beasts are around her, which is good because those are her favorite enemies. And she can also find traps.
So there you have it, guys. That's my new adopted character, and now this is where you come in. Which one of you needs a half-orc female ranger who's pretty proficient in strength and constitution and about average in intelligence and wisdom? Comment below and let's get adopting.